went and he brought out a collection of Kitab Tawheed. And he said, this book is authored by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab. So the scholar who was teaching the people in that city, how did he respond? He said, Al-Kafir.
وهم الذين ملأ الإله قلوبهم بوداده ومحبة الرحمن.
Everything that we mentioned so far is from the explanation of Sheikh Razzaq al-Badr, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala. So the Sheikh, he requested his students to pay attention in his introduction of this book to the following. He said, Isma'u ra'akumullah, hadhihi al-qissa فَفِيهَا عِذَةٌ وَعِبْرَةٌ. Pay attention and listen. May Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala protect you to the story, for in it there is a lesson and admonition. He said, وَقَدْ ذَكَرَهَا الْإِمَامُ الشيخ. He said, وَقَدْ ذَكَرَهَا الْإِمَامُ الشيخ محمد بن إبراهيم رحمه الله تعالى مفتي هذه الديار كما في مجموع فتاوى. It was mentioned by the Imam Sheikh Muhammad ibn Ibrahim. May Allah have mercy upon him. Sheikh Muhammad ibn Ibrahim was one of the Grand Muftis of Saudi Arabia. It is mentioned in his Majmu'a Fatawa. He said, أن رجل فادل يقال له, and he narrated a story about a righteous man whose name was Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri. Whose name was Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri. Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri was someone who Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala honored with the study and understanding of Tawheed. So Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri كان عنده تجارة فيحتاج من أجل تجارته أن يذهب إلى الهند ويقيم بها شهور العديدة. So Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri, he was a tajir and he had a business. And this business required him to travel to Al-Hind. It required him to travel to India and to remain there for several months. فكان إلى جوار المكان الذي يسكن فيه أحد العلماء هناك يدرس الطلاب ويجتمع حوله الطلاب وكان يبدأ كل درس من دروسه يفتتحه باللعن ابن عبد الوهاب. So near the place where he was staying, near the place where Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri was staying, one of the local scholars, he used to teach the students Islam. He used to teach them Islam. And many of them, they would gather around him. And in each of the Sheikh's lesson, he would begin with cursing Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab. Pay attention, yeah? So, where are we so far? What did we mention in this story quickly? He was the tajir. And what was his gift from Allah? He was honored with what? The understanding of Tawheed. What happened? What was he? A tajir, and what happened? His business required him to go where? For many months. When he went there, what happened? He was staying, and next to where he was staying, there was a sheikh that was giving lectures that many students, they would what? They would gather around him. And the sheikh, every time he began his lesson, he would begin by doing what? By cursing Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab. ثم إن هذا الرجل عبد الرحمن البكري أراد أن يوقف هذا الرجل على الحقيقة بعيدا عن الدعايات التي وصلت إليه. So Abdul-Rahman al-Bakri, he wanted to show this man the reality, away from the propaganda that had reached them. فجاء إلى هذا الكتاب كتاب التوحيد ونزع الغلاف الذي يتضح منه اسم المؤلف. So he took the book, he took Kitab al-Tawheed, and he removed the cover which revealed the author's name. فمر به ذلك العالم فدعاه ورحب به وضيفه وأكرمه وترك الكتاب في المجلس قريبا من المكان الذي أجلسه فيه. So when the scholar once was passing by him, he invited him in and he welcomed him, and he honored him. And he left the book nearby where he placed him to sit down. ثم غاب عنه ليحضر شيئا ورجع إليه والكتاب بيد ذلك العالم يقرأ. So he stepped away for a short time in order to get something. And when he returned, he found the scholar with the book in his hand, reading it. And the scholar, he found in this book nothing but Quranic verses and nothing but a hadith, sayings of the Prophet ﷺ. And likewise, he found in the book extremely powerful titles and headings. And while reading it, he found a blessed vibe in clarifying the matter of Tawheed, and likewise in presenting the truth and guidance. So he saw something that was clear and manifest. What did he see? He saw nur, he saw light. He was impressed by the book. So when Abdurrahman al-Baqri returned, the scholar asked him, who wrote this book? So Abdurrahman al-Baqri, he did not want to reveal what he did. So what did he do? He said, perhaps we should go to the maktaba down there and we would ask the caretaker, the one who runs the bookstore. Maybe he can inform us where this book came from and who is the author of this book. So the both of them, they went to the bookstore and they gave it to the person in charge to examine the book. So after looking at it, the person who was in charge of the bookstore, he went and he brought out a collection of Kitaab Tawheed. And he said, this book is authored by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab. So the scholar who was teaching the people in that city, how did he respond? He said, Al-Kafir. He said, Al-Kafir. When he heard the name, he said, Al-Kafir. Then he looked again and realized that he had been cursing and declaring disbelief, waliyadhu billah, against this Imam. And all of it was built upon baseless propaganda, unsupported by any authority from Allah. So from this particular instance, the scholar, he saw light and radiance. And what happened to him, he changed his position, Allahu Akbar. And no longer did he begin his durus, his lessons, except with supplication for Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab rahimahullah ta'ala. This is the first example. The second example is mentioned by Sheikh Razzaq al-Badr himself, hafidhahullah ta'ala. Sheikh Razzaq al-Badr, he said, and in this story is also, it is also ajiba. It is also an amazing story. Sheikh Razzaq al-Badr, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he said, something strange happened to me. He said, I traveled once to a country, and there I met a man. I met a man and had a lengthy discussion with him. And the man, he said, indeed, Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab hates the family of the Prophet. He hates Ahlul Bayt. And Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab, he insults them. So Sheikh Abdul Razzaq al-Badr, he said, I replied to the man by saying, as for the books of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab, rahimahullah ta'ala, I've read most of them. I've read most of them, book by book. And I have not seen in any single one of them anything like what you're claiming. And then I said to him, Allahu Akbar. And then I said to him, do you know that the Shaykh rahimahullah ta'ala named his family verily with the names of the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He named his children Ali and Fatima and Al-Hassan and Al-Hussein. Allahu Akbar. So when the man heard this, he became shocked. He became shocked. Yani in this what? It exposed the falsehood of what the people propagates when it comes to Ahlul Sunnah and when it comes to the truth. And it is something that is very evident even up until this time of ours. Anyone who hears about Tawheed, or they hear about Aqidah, or they hear about Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, or they hear about Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahab, or they hear any other scholars that were upright in clarifying the matters of Tawheed, and the matters of Shirk, and the matters of Aqidah, you hear them cursing the scholars of uprightness.